Hi, Scott Lackman, 4510 TV. Today, viewers, a real estate market update for our wider region, including the quarter of January, February and March 2017. With me, as always, real estate expert Robin Lackman, Principal of Richardson&Wrench, Caboolture. G'day, Robin.
Hi, Scott. Thank you.
Now, for our viewers, Robin, we did skip a market update in the last quarter of 2016. I'll just touch on that briefly, that October, November, December 16 period wasn't very favourable for us, so there wasn't really much to report. Can we comment on that?
Yes, it did slow down a little bit, Scott. However, we've recovered, and that's just the normal real estate rise and fall that we experience every day. For no real reason, you'll have a really productive month, and then the next month it'll fall back again. But the work goes on, and people are listing and selling every day.
Now, I know the company Richardson&Wrench, obviously a director myself, but in today's episode, being the interviewer, I can comment that although it was slow through that last quarter, we tried to keep momentum flowing through the Christmas period, and that's certainly helped what we're about to talk about now, the first quarter of 2017. Let's run through that.
Yes, certainly, Scott. And I've printed out some statistics for you. So these are compiled through information that we receive through RP Data, CoreLogic, and settled sales and information that comes through from all agents across the region. So if we look at Caboolture, houses in Caboolture have seen a steady capital growth over the past 4 years, between 3 and 5%, with a total of 16% capital growth since 2013. So that we're tracking quite well when you look at that. Units, however, and that's houses that I refer to, units, however, have gone backwards, and it's been quite volatile with listing and sale of units. They've actually lost money since 2011, and some of that could be attributed to the amount of NRAS properties that we had available. They were being sold well above the market value, and it wasn't sustainable, and we've now seen those prices peg back quite significantly to a more realistic price in today's market. So that impact has been there. The average days on market for Caboolture is currently 90 days. In our office, we're experiencing a 66-day turnaround from the time the property's listed to sold. So they're really quite good figures, much better than they were over past years.
Robin, can we talk about that supply and demand? Like, what's driving those maybe quicker sales in our office?
Real estate, there's no secret to it. It's all about pricing, how the property's priced. And I've talked previously to you about being on the market and in the market. If our sellers take the advice of the agent who's looking at these figures day in and day out, and we have lots of areas to pull this information from, if they listen to their agent, they will be priced right to suit the market. Our buyers these days are so well equipped with the information and the knowledge that they can obtain through the internet, and just reading and taking advice from seminars and things that they attend these days, particularly investors. If the property is priced right, it will sell within that period of time that we're seeing. 66 days in the case of our office. Some of our properties sell within 24 hours, but it's all about the price. And if you price yourself above what the market's perceived as being, you will sit and you'll wait a lot longer to get that sale. But take advice from your agent, because they're in a position to give you the best feedback possible about where you sit in the market.
So let's roll on some more statistics.
Okay, for units, if we look at units, and our supply and demand of units over the time have not been good. The inner city market, you'll see the units selling off plan. We've never experienced that in this region, and I don't think we ever will. However, they still sell. There is still a market for them. Young couple, young singles, older people. We're seeing a lot more older people coming into the market looking for something smaller. In 2016-17, 41 units sold in Caboolture compared to 89 units in 2007-2008. Again, I refer back to the NRAS scheme. That was when that was all coming through. Homes, 2016-17, 303 homes sold compared to 439 in the same period for 2007-2008.
Tracking onto other suburbs, we primarily concentrate on our focus for Caboolture. However, the wider region, a lot of people don't realise, but under the 4510 postcode, we've got suburbs of Belmere, Beachmere, Alimba just on the outskirts. We encapsulate Burpengary and Narangba. Now, we often refer to Caboolture. However, in those neighbouring suburbs, what's happening there?
Yeah, and again, these are quite interesting statistics, because quite often with the investment market, we'll have people that'll phone us from interstate and they'll only want to look at properties in Morayfield, the Morayfield postcode. And if you go to people like Residex, which is a publication that comes out of Sydney, they're being driven to a postcode where Residex have done their research and believe that that's the area that's experiencing the best growth and the best value for money and the best return for the rental. But it's a very, very fine line. And I say to people when they phone, will you look at Belmere? And they say, no, it must be Morayfield. But Belmere is a kilometre difference between one suburb and the other. And it's hard to explain that sometimes. Just for example, Morayfield, the medium rent for a property in Morayfield is $350. The medium rent for a property in Belmere, same property, is $355. Burpengary changes. The medium rent in Burpengary is $390, whereas Narangba, it's $420. And then if you look at Caboolture South, it's $300 a week. Alimba, because you're getting into acreage properties, goes up to $450 a week. Upper Caboolture, Parkridge, for example, out along Caboolture Road, $350 a week. But then if you just put in the figures for Caboolture, it's $320 a week. Yep. So you're all over the place depending on your location. Yep. And we're comparing apples with apples, just different street address.
Yeah. And when we talk about the rental statistics, the reason we focus on that return per week is we want to explain to investors and owner occupiers just that return, that yield that they're getting. I still believe if you can get anywhere between 5.2 up to 6% gross return on an investment, you're pretty much coming in dollar for dollar with what the banks are lending. So it's a pretty good measure. If there's a $300,000 house at the moment, pretty well guarantee that you're going to get $300 per week for that $300,000 home. We're back in that sort of ratio again, aren't we?
Exactly. And the other statistic that I always find very, very interesting, and it's a question that's asked every day, 46% of people in Caboolture are currently renting. 46% of homes in Caboolture are currently rented, 54 owner-occupied.
Yeah. And for people outside the area, they'd probably say that percentage would be in more favour of the tenanted property or investment ratio rather than the owner-occupied. So that's very pleasing, because what we're seeing is that percentage of owner-occupied, people that want to live, work, play in the area, that's a bit higher. So it's good for the future.
Yes, it is. And there's enormous growth happening, and just in the last couple of days, you and I have experienced that developer looking to on-sell some land that he's purchased in Morayfield. And again, there's a lot of activity out in the marketplace, and it's right across the board, from still the cheaper end of the market right through to the $600,000-$700,000 properties and above. There's been some very, very high recorded sales in the last few months. So those big executive homes on acreage, there is a market for them, but there's also that remaining market in the lower end of the market around 300.
Yeah. Probably to wrap it up, again, it's been, as always, I think you're the queen of information. You know what's happening on the ground, and you just get us fellows to do all the chasing around for you. But the real estate market as such, we've had a very positive January, February, March for the Caboolture region. Crystal ball time, what's over the next quarter?
This morning at our sales meeting, I said, I can feel it. It's a feeling that you get when you've been around for a long time, and I've just come up to 30 years of selling in Caboolture. You get a feeling of the market moving, and I'm certainly seeing that now. It'll be slow, but by the end of this year, it'll be interesting for us to sit and talk about these sort of figures again, because they would have changed significantly.
Yep. And we're on the move, so that's very positive. All those people that have been sitting on their hands in their houses waiting for the growth to come, we haven't seen it. We always anticipate it, but we believe we're on the cusp of it now, and it's going to continue.
And just touching on that, Scott, I had the figures here for Caboolture West. And, you know, we're still talking Caboolture West, and we get a lot of people phoning saying, what's happening? Tell us what's happening in Caboolture West. It is happening, you know. We're coming to the end of North Lakes. Caboolture West will replace North Lakes. And, you know, if you look at the figures that are being predicted there now, 70,000 new homes, 17,000 full-time jobs, a major town centre, 6 local centres, 13 neighbourhood hubs. It's been coming for a long time, but that, you know, we're seeing that light a lot brighter now at the end of the tunnel.
Brilliant. Robin Lackman, Principal of Richardson&Wrench Caboolture, myself, interviewer, but also Director of Richardson&Wrench Caboolture. We're looking forward to another positive quarter ahead of us, and let's wrap up again just before the end of financial year. And when's the best time to buy real estate, Robin?
Yesterday.
There you go, viewers. Thanks for joining in. That's our market update, and we'll see you again.